the best dancer at that point. So then you see these guys come from everywhere doing their best move. Then the next guy would come into the circle and try to top him. And the next guy would try to do it to top him. So that's a burn. A burn is you try to top the other guy. And the way you do it is by trying to humiliate him at the same time with style and grace and finesse. So, and the way you know you humiliated him is because the crowd was your audience. The crowd would let the guy know that he made you look stupid. They were like, oh my God, he just took you out. And you're like, oh man, I'll get you next round. But anyway, in Manhattan, it wasn't so much jerks. Jerks to me came from Brooklyn. In Manhattan, it was just straight up dancing and burns, like throwing the burns. So what happened was I had family in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, I saw the guys doing jerks. Oh man, I like that. I think I'm gonna, adopt that style. I didn't learn personally because, like I said, I was a kid, and these guys were older, and they wanted to teach me. So I would interpret what I knew. So I would practice at home and everything. As I got older, I started doing my own little version of it. Not a completely perfect Brooklyn jerk, but a little attitude to it, just to pass me by. It looked great in Manhattan. I tell you, I got a lot of recognition off of that. So then I met a guy from Brooklyn, and he was like, man, where did you learn that? You from Brooklyn? I said, nah, I'm from Manhattan. I said, I learned it watching. He said, oh man, I can help you with more steps. He had learned from some guy in what you would call Alfonso from Facebook. The guy that I'm talking about, his name was Chief. He was from East New York. And him and his friends were Morocco and Cobra, and he told me that Alfonso had showed up. He said, look, I can show you some more. So he had shown me some more, and he completed it for me. So then I grew up in the Upper West Side, 92nd Street in Columbus, and a block away, Frosty Freeze lived. And then 96th Street, Ken Rock lived. So then during that time, they were doing their little break dance, and I was doing my version of up rocking. So we would go to a club in USA, and there would be guys from Brooklyn, actually guys from Bushwick, Brooklyn. And I would go there with them, and I would battle and everything, and they liked my style. So in 1981, when it came down for them to battle Dynamic, they knew that Dynamic was going to have some up rockers. So they asked me and my partner, they said, yo, you guys do some Brooklyn style. Yo, you got to come and join us. And that's where I got the jerks from. But from what I know, the jerks came from Brooklyn. And I knew people from Brooklyn. That's why I knew. A lot of people in Manhattan had no clue about jerks and everything from Brooklyn. Like they were saying, guys like Dynasty and Alfonso from Phasing, there's some guy called Kojak. I'm just relating with this guy. He used to tell me the stories that I've heard. And from what I know, from what I always know, the jerks and everything from Brooklyn.
How did you get the...
Your picture, take it out.
I was falling. Where did you get the title of King of Rock? How did that happen?
Well, like I said, 1980, I won that contest and I danced against Little Dave, and when they said I won, I was exhausted because I left the hospital. I wasn't supposed to leave the hospital. And, it was so great to dance against all these guys, and a lot of guys kept saying, yo, you're the new king now, you're the new king, all this, you wanted this is what you wanted. But my name was always RC, and I decided to keep the name King of Rock. I wanted to represent for those who were locked up, those who passed away, whoever quit, that I will always keep them, always, like in the public world, you know what I'm saying? And to me, we're all kings, we're all great dancers. To me, king means like we all rule one time we rule. You have Muhammad Ali who ruled an era, Mike Tyson rules the next era, you got Lennox who rules the next era. But my decade, I think I had great dancers that I learned from, I got to dance against, and just now the name will represent all these guys and come out to the world and say, this is what I've learned through all these guys. And that's what King of Rock stands for.
So these kids that we're about to go see, they're learning from you. Are you learning from them at all?
Well, you learn from everybody. You still learn.
So what are you learning from these kids? Are they showing you some moves?
Well, I used to b-boy too. I was a popper back in the day with Dynamic, incredible body mechanics, and mastermind rockers. I danced with different crews back then. But these kids showed me, just to be around them, I'm going to be 46 next month, and I don't feel 46 sometimes when I dance with these kids. I feel just like them, the big brother, the older father. So, you know, being around these kids is always going to be something. They're showing me a lot. And sometimes I see these kids do new moves that I help them build new moves. I like to be creative. You know, I can still throw down and do knee spins and footwork and a couple of windmills. And I tell these kids, man, I hope when you're my age, you can dance, you still be dancing. Because, you know, sometimes you hear kids, I'm 25 years old, I'm too old school. Old school. I'm 46, I'm going to be 46 years old, I'm still dancing. I danced 10, 8 records, you know. You got the older guys who dance, you know, go out there and they dance, and they're in their 50s. I mean, it's what you feel. If you don't feel comfortable with it anymore, eventually you'll leave it. But I want the kids to know that education is the #1 purpose thing. Because, you know, I finished school, I work for the city, I work for the police department, I work custodian, I do electrician, I do plumbing, I do different things. And just because I dance, I don't really make money off of dancing. It's all about love, you know. And I mean, would I like to make money from dancing? Yeah, but I would like to take the money that I get and help kids who don't have. Because God will repay me later on. I always think that I will get the blessing of God. That's why I don't worry about, I'm not rich this day, you know. I don't drive a Lamborghini, or I don't live in a gigantic house like a mansion, like, you know, the Jay-Z's and everybody else. You know, those guys have accomplished stuff, but they don't give back in the community. I think I'm the only guy right now in Brooklyn that comes to the community, whether I move out of New York City and still give back to the community. You know, my partner, Break Easy, you know, we both get free classes, and we try to do different things. I teach boxing, I teach martial arts, and the little bit I give you is better than nothing. And, you know, like I said, Danny Boy's always been there, you know, he's been a great dancer, and he's won the marathon. He can tell you a little bit about that, you know.
So what do you guys, how do you guys feel about the state of hip hop today, and about what do you think about the future of hip hop? I mean, it's a little commercial, obviously. There's a lot of people saying hip hop is dead, the culture is dead.
Hip hop is dead, and I can tell you why they say that in New York, because the kids today don't have anything. Like, there's not enough centers for these kids to do something. In other countries, like I said, I've been to Spain, I've been to France. I met kids from other countries, from Europe, from Japan, or Netherlands, or certain place, Switzerland. Those kids love what we do. From back in the day, they live in it. They don't have the skills, but they're still living the love of what they see. And that's a good thing, that if we were there, it would be, I mean, so big now, it would be even greater, you know? But the kids here in New York, there's nothing for them. I mean, there's not enough old school pioneers giving back. I mean, I only can do so much. If I'm doing 3%, I'm doing something. Everybody else has to do something. But you know what? Having all the old school pioneers together, and when I throw a jam and they all come, sometimes I surprise them, I make a plaque for the recognition of what they have done. And kids see them, oh, who's that? I say, oh, he's original, he's original. And when they dance and they see them, it's like, wow, man, we didn't know this history was going on. We was never told that Brooklyn had this history going on. I said, well, because people are marketing, because they're making money off of hip hop, and they're not giving us the recognition. So, you know, of course that's gonna always happen, you know, and they're not gonna give us anything. So we have to come back and knock the door down to take the recognition. And that's what we're doing. And most old school guys, I brought every old school guy who said they're from the 70s and 60s, I brought them back. I went looking for them. Hey, yo, come here, remember you still rock, I know you. And show them the flyers. Now we're working on a book. And I want to put the book out there so it shows the flyer and old school pictures. Because this is going to be the proof. I mean, is it going to knock what the Bronx has always said, that hip-hop started the Bronx? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm just giving my part of my history. These guys are my history. These are my brothers. If it wasn't for them, maybe I would not be alive today. So I have to thank God, I have to thank them, thank God that I saw them, and I took what they had and kept going with it. And that's what I look at. Hip-hop is not dead in me, because I'm funk and soul and disco, and I still hustle, and I don't want to bring the hustle back. That's the next thing, because women out there, they're great hustlers, they used to dance to hustle, and I mean, I don't want to dance with a guy all day, I want to dance with a girl, you know? I got my wife, I want to teach her to hustle, we hustle, dance salsa, man, that's everything. You know, we're Latino, we dance everything, you know, and, you know, and the younger guys who don't have a wife, you know, they can be able to dance with a girl, or dance with my wife with the hustle, you know, dance with her, you know. It's unity. When we don't have unity, we don't have anything.